Hello traders everywhere, Adam Hewison here, president of INO.com and co-creator of MarketClub with your video market update for Thursday the 14th of March. It's the smartphone wars, that's right. Galaxy is pulling out all the stops today to launch its Galaxy S4. Well, Galaxy and Apple have been in a kind of a war, basically. You can see Galaxy now has 29% of the smartphone market, where Apple has 21%. The difference is Apple owns its own operating system. So generally speaking, it's probably more profitable per phone than Samsung, but that doesn't matter. So let's go back right to our portfolio manager. We're going to be looking at Apple, BlackBerry, which is another player, has with their BlackBerry 10, and also the iShares of South Korea. It's the only way you can really play Samsung. It makes up 22% of this index, so we'll be looking at that. And let's start with the S&P 500, which is again in a positive mode. This is the 10th day in a row that the S&P's been, the Dow has been higher. So it's pretty amazing that we're seeing this run continue. It's the longest run since 1996, to give you some sense of the historic nature of this. So we're continuing to go up. Remember, we had a 1550, 1560 target zone. We're pretty much there. I certainly would like to take some money off the table. I wouldn't take it all off, but I'd take some profits off the table on that one. Looking at the Dow Jones, you can see right here, this is the one that's really being the key. We talked about this before. It just chung, 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 10 days in a row, unheard of. I mean, really is very, very unusual. You can see we've been bullish on this market. You can see our monthly, just put the monthly in. We got into the monthly way back here on the 22nd of January, and it's seemed to be working pretty well for us. You can see where we got back in on our weekly right here at the 25th of February at 14,052. So we've got about almost 500 points in this position right now, just on the last trade we put on, not to mention the really big trade, which was right back here, which is almost 1,000 points. So let's go up to, we're looking at a 14.6 target zone, so we're only 70 points away from this, 75 points away. So let's go to our next market, and that's going to be the NASDAQ. Now the NASDAQ is creeping up there, not quite as robust. We thought this would be the case. As you may remember, we wanted to be long the S&P, short the NASDAQ, and it's sort of working out well. It's a very cautious, very hedged position, but the trend is still your friend. We have all of our trade triangles obviously in a positive mode, and that's important. We're also going to be looking at the three stocks we mentioned, was Apple, BlackBerry, and Samsung, with using the ETF for the South Korean index. So as I said, the Samsung makes up 22% of that index. So let's go back to our portfolio. Look at Apple first of all. Apple, as you well know, has been crushed here the last several months, moving from as high as 700, which is right up here, all the way down here. It's still not performing really that well today. It's 432.30. Is this a place to buy Apple? It probably is, but the reality is we're not there yet. We want to see some turns in our technical analysis. Now, let me just clear the screen up a little bit and make this much simpler for us to look at. We'll take away the Donchian trading channels and also the parabolic, and we'll go to a very, very simple line chart. Sometimes I like to look at these markets on a very simple basis, and this is the way I look at them. So we have a simple line chart. This is a daily close only line chart of Apple Computer, and as you can see, it's had a pretty amazing fall from grace. So if we go from the very highs, it's right around the 700 mark. Just draw a very simple trend line. You can see how this trend line really hits the points that we want to make, and this is where I really would be the first clue. So in order to be a very valid trend line, we wanted to hit 3 points. So there's 1, 2, 3. You almost had a 1 there, but not quite. So almost have 1 there, not quite. But you can see the validity of this trend line. Once we break over this trend line, which we can do, I think we could see this market start to improve from current levels. I mean, it's not like the company's going out of business. It has a ton of cash. It could issue a special dividend, which would make a lot of people very happy. It could go for a 2-to-1 split or a 3-to-1 split, which make it a lot more attractive to a lot of other investors. But generally speaking, Apple has been going down. The trend is very clearly to the downside. And if we just take that away and we put on our trade triangles, which we can do very simply by just clicking on a trade triangle right here and here. So you can see that the first signal came right here at this level. And let me just take the trend line off, trend line tool off. First signal came here. Oop, hang on. At 6:50, it came at 6:56. That was on the October 2nd. And then the big monthly one, which is the long for the trend, really changed at 587. So you can see that was $155 ago. And you can see our last sell signal was here at 504. We're currently trading at 432. That's about $72 ago. So we're getting close to making this turn. If we scope this down further and we look at the MACD, you can see it's really beginning to flatten out. It really doesn't go anywhere, really flattening out, trying to make the turn. Volume is coming, volume has been decreasing, so the interest in selling or going short this market has really decreased, and you don't sell a quiet market. So I'd be watching for a place for this market to make a turn. We're going to first see it in the daily. Obviously, the daily has turned. We want to look for the intermediate term trend to turn with the weekly trade triangle. When that happens, we want to be out of this market on the short side. Take our profits and wait until we see a monthly change. Now that could be another. We could be away from that. We could be another month or two while that develops. But for the moment, watch this trend line. Very, very important trend line for Apple. So let's go to take a look at our next market. That's going to be the BlackBerry. And BlackBerry, unlike Apple, we did a video several years ago about being long Apple, short BlackBerry. RIM research at that point in time, which worked out extremely well. Now look at this on RIM. So you've got this sort of market that's going uptrend. So you've got all the trend lines there. You're broken up on the upside, and it looks as though it wants to go higher. So that's the key thing that we're looking at. Obviously, very good support right around this level here, the 13 level. And it looks as though it wants to go high. Now, if you scope this out, you get a sense of where RIM has come from. And we can do that very simply by just doing this and taking away our weeklies, just show you some of the moves. Now, we have had, there's the last monthly. That was the one that was telling us the market's going down. And that was on March 25th on 2011. That was a big signal, 57.48. And we traded all the way down to, gosh, almost $6 a share. And that was our next buy signal. It came at 8.49. That was on the November 1st, 2012. And here we are at 15.35 and trading. So it's worked out very, very well in terms of just a percentage change and a percentage return on capital. Now the question is this going to continue? Well, if we just do a very simple analysis with a Fibonacci tool, which we can just do right here, just pull this down to the lows. And we could see really without too much of a stretch going up to 21.37, even to 30 on this market, which would dovetail very well with this sort of resistance level. That would be a 38%, and possibly get to 38. Now this could be a form of a takeover. Somebody may want to buy their technology. Who knows? BlackBerry does very well outside of the U.S. It's lost a lot of its appeal in the U.S. simply because of the dominance of Apple and now Samsung. Whether they can get that back, I think it's going to be a very hard road to climb. But I think, generally speaking, they could do very well in Europe and Asia. So let's see how that works out. They also had an order for 1 million phones, which is the biggest order they've ever had in their history. And they announced that today. So that's a very good sign that people are having some faith in this particular market. But generally speaking, the trend is your friend. And if we get close in on this stock, you can see that we really are beginning to make a move. Big day yesterday, outside day to the upside. We may see a little more consolidation, but it looks like to me we're going to at least challenge the 18 to 20 level on the upside. Now, this next market is a little bit different. This is an ETF, and this is the South Korean index, and the symbol is EWY. EWY is the symbol. It's an ETF, and you can see that it's trading at 60, minus 60, which is a trading range. Now, the reason I'm showing you the ETF is because you cannot trade Samsung in this country. It's not traded. But the ETF, EWY, has a 22% component in it. And that 22% component is Samsung. So you are indirectly looking to trade this market. Now, a couple of things I can tell you right now with this particular thing is, one, the longer term trend from 58.45, it's 59.85 right now, is positive. You can see where that kicked in back here. And there we go. So we can see what kicked in here on the 13th of September at 58.45. It's really kept going slowly, admittedly, but we're back down here. This could be a very big play for Samsung. We are oversold, which is a very encouraging sign if you want to be a buyer, and we're just seeing this a little bit negative at the moment. So I don't think it's any reason to rush in. I would watch this very carefully. If we see the weekly turn green, I think it's definitely all systems go on this particular ETF. But let's see how this launch of Samsung goes. They're spending $400 million on it, so it should be a pretty exciting event. And let's see how the market receives their new phone. So let's see. We'll be checking that out tomorrow. So I'm Adam Hewison from Market Club. Thanks for stopping by. Check out the smartphone.